Good morning, Bucknutters, and welcome into the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Wednesday, June 3rd, 2015. I am Dave Biddle. We'll get to the Dean of Ohio State football recruiting, Bill Kurelic, later in the show. But first, I want to get your thoughts on the online sportsbook, topbet.eu, releasing odds on who Ohio State's starting quarterback will be to open the 2015 season against Virginia Tech on Labor Day, that being September 7th. They have J.T. Barrett listed as the favorite and give him what amounts to be a 43% chance at winning the job. This wasn't shocking to me, but it was mildly surprising. Cardale Jones is not too far behind Barrett. Again, Barrett at 43%. Cardale Jones is given a 35% chance at winning the job by this online sports book. And I won't say Braxton Miller is a distant third, but he checks in at just 22%. Distant third would be more like 10% or 5% in my opinion. But the point of the matter is that Braxton is still considered quite the long shot to be the Buckeye starter. So what say thee? Do you agree with all this? And if you had to bet based on these odds, who would you take? Let's hear your answer in the comment section. For me, it would be Jones. Now you can make the argument for any of the three, but I think Jones will start. But I do think Barrett will play in what many will consider the dreaded two-quarterback system. But if anyone can pull it off, a true two-quarterback system, it's Urban Meyer. And what he had at Florida in 2006 with Chris Leak and Tim Tebow was not a true two-quarterback system. This would be different. I'm talking about Barrett entering the game by the third or fourth series and getting a couple series to see what he can do, and then perhaps going with a hot hand in the second half. These things have a way of working themselves out due to injuries, but I'm going with Jones as the starter. Again, let's hear your thoughts in the comment section.
Michigan stinks!
All right, just like our sources will disagree many times, our staff members here at Bucknuts often have differing opinions when it comes to Ohio State-related topics, or topics of all kinds. For example, the Dean of Ohio State football recruiting, Bill Kurelic, likes his hamburgers plain, absolutely nothing but the meat and the bun. Now, I need some toppings on my burgers. Nothing crazy, but some pickles and onions are appreciated. Anyway, on yesterday's BM5, our Alex Gleitman gave his take on running back Kareem Walker taking visits to other schools and what that means for the Buckeyes. Of course, the five-star Walker is a Buckeye commitment. Now, Alex was confident that the running back would be a Buckeye in the end, but he did acknowledge that it's possible Walker could sign elsewhere since he is taking other visits. Does Kurelic agree with Gleitman? Let's bring in the Dean to find out, and also to get his thoughts on wide receiver Austin Mack, who will announce his decision this Sunday.
Over the weekend, Buckeye five-star running back commitment Kareem Walker made visits to the South to both Auburn on Saturday and Alabama on Sunday, and that drew quite a reaction on the front row message board from Ohio State fans that are worried that perhaps Walker will decommit from Ohio State and end up elsewhere. Now, I'm not saying that that could not possibly happen, but I am saying I'm not worried about it. When I talked to Walker, and I've talked to him many times, early in his commitment to the Buckeyes, he told me that there were going to be possibly other visits, and certainly Tennessee, Alabama, those were two schools that he could visit. So I'm not surprised that he has gone ahead and visited Alabama, as I mentioned on Sunday, and then before that he visited Auburn. But Kareem Walker knows that Ohio State is a perfect fit. He knows that Ezekiel Elliott will be gone after this coming season, headed to the NFL unless something drastic changes. And he also knows the Buckeye offense fits him well. And Walker certainly is coming into Ohio State at the right time. He also loves Ohio State and is very happy with his commitment. He has never at any time indicated any discontentment with his commitment to Ohio State. Certainly when Stan Drayton left Ohio State for the Chicago Bears, that was a little bit of cause for perhaps thinking. But when Ohio State quickly hired Tony Alford, that certainly got things very much back in the right direction for Ohio State, as Walker is very happy with Tony Alford as the Ohio State running back coach. And again, Walker I see as the perfect fit for Ohio State and vice versa, and really I'm not worried that he might end up elsewhere. He is still solidly a Buckeye commitment. Speaking of perfect fits, a guy I saw over the weekend at Nike's the opening Ohio Regionals, that being wide receiver Austin Mack. He is what I would call also a perfect fit for Ohio State. Austin Mack was very impressive at Ohio State on Sunday, and he looked every bit of his listed 6'2" and 205 pounds, and I see him as a receiver that fits in very well, in fact perfectly, with what Ohio State is trying to do. Austin Mack has good size, close to Michael Thomas size. He has great hands. He gets separation from defenders, and he runs good routes, and I see him as a guy that could make an impact very quickly at Ohio State if he ends up picking the Buckeyes. He is scheduled to announce his decision June 7th, and right now the crystal ball heavily favors Ohio State as the choice for Austin Mack. In fact, if you look at the crystal ball, it's 90% Ohio State, 5% Notre Dame, and 5% Michigan. Those are the two other schools that he recently visited. I really think that Notre Dame is the only school that has had much of a chance to upset Ohio State, and I don't think that's going to happen. I will go along very much so with the crystal ball prediction, and I think Austin Mack will be a Buckeye come June 7th, and certainly he is a great fit for the Ohio State offense and what Urban Meyer wants to do, and certainly we'll all be keeping a very close eye on Austin Mack's announcement on June 7th.
Thank you, Bill. That is great news on both fronts. It's good to know you agree with Alex that Walker will be a Buckeye in the end, and it's good to hear your glowing comments on Mack. And I'll say it if you won't. Mack is a lock to be a Buckeye. And now Bill is going to be mad at me because he hates when anyone calls a recruit a lock. Thanks again to the Dean of Ohio State Football Recruiting, Bill Kurelic, and thanks to you for tuning into the show. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day. Play that Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.